We're going to take you live to Sydney now, where Premier Chris Minns is holding a press conference with Deputy Premier and Education Minister Prue Carr. Let's listen in.
The state banning clubs from donating to political parties, excluding VIP signage from outside clubs and pubs, as well as for new gaming machines, reducing the maximum allowable limit from thousands of dollars per machine to $500 as an input limit. So we've made headway already. There's more to do, but I want to see that independent panel provide the evidence to the government.
Aren't you worried that people will travel from Victoria to New South Wales in the meantime to launder money?
Well, I think it's important to note that we will take and have taken, obviously, the information that's provided to us by the committee in the coming year. My reticence in relation to this has been well-founded, and the circumstances relating to it has to do with the emerging technology. Cashless gaming is only in one jurisdiction in the whole world. It's not prevalent. I don't want to be in a situation where we pursue that reform in New South Wales and the unintended consequences of that reform is that people lose more money as a result. Now, that means we want to see the evidence as it's provided to the committee. I'm sure that committee will look to other jurisdictions in Australia and around the world to inform the information they give to government, but I want to see what information they can dig up and what recommendations they make.
How can people lose more money from cashless gaming?
It's important to note that the Victorian Responsible Gambling Foundation found that if there's a disconnect between inputting cash into a machine and cashless gaming, it may induce greater losses on that technology than otherwise would be the case. That's the reason why in New South Wales you can't bet on credit, and it's actually ironically the reason why initially cashless gaming, cash in machines was used to. Now, whether that's misguided or not, that's what we want the committee to look at. But given this is not prevalent, it hasn't been rolled out across the world, it's relatively recent technology, I want to make sure that we get it right.
What do you think of the idea to close venues like Victoria suggesting 6 hours from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m?
Yeah, we're not opposed to that. It's important to remember that's not for every venue in Victoria. The casinos will continue to operate at 24 hours a day, but we are charging that committee with the ability to come back to government with a suite of recommendations, in addition to the steps that we have already taken in the first 100 days of the government.
Are you beholden to the gambling industry, as some have suggested?
Well, I mean, absolutely not. And I think that given how quickly we've moved to bring in legislation that many people thought wouldn't be introduced in New South Wales, particularly the forfeiture changes, as well as the input limits for new machines, as well as anti-gambling signage or gambling signage at the front of pubs and clubs, and banning political donations. I mean, we've taken steps to move on that already, and we're looking at cashless gaming. It's really important to note a couple of things, notwithstanding the fact that the Leader of the Opposition in New South Wales has alleged that the Victorian government has moved to cashless gaming. They haven't. And secondly, cashless gaming was pursued and offered up as a policy prescription by the Crime Commission in New South Wales, not in relation to problem gambling, but in relation to the illicit proceeds of crime, not in relation to problem gambling. So I need to make sure that policy reform in fact works, and I want to get the experts around the table to see that happen.
OK, New South Wales Premier Chris Minns taking a bit of heat there over his stance with gambling reform after the Victorian government introduced some pretty strict rules around poker machines on the weekend yesterday, including you having to show your ID before you can play a poker machine in Victoria to try and stamp out money laundering. We'll have more on that later.